Lesson 32. Now we're going to have a quick recap on scales and chords. First thing, we're going to look at how we use whole steps and half steps to build any major scale. First of all, we start with the note we want to build a scale on. In this instance, C. So if we want to build a C major scale, we start with C. Then we do this technique. We go whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. Again, start with the note we want to build the scale on, and we go whole step, half step, whole step, half step. That's how we build any major scale using the whole step and half step technique. How do we build a major triad chord using the whole steps and half steps technique? Okay, start with the note we want to build the chord on. So we want to build a C major chord. From here we go whole step, half step, whole step. Bearing in mind we're now playing the first 5 notes of a major scale. We then take the second and fourth fingers away. That gives us C major chord. Let's do this with G major. We want to build a G major chord. We start with the G. We go whole step, half step, whole step. Take the second and fourth fingers away. We now have a G major triad chord. That's how you build any major chord using whole step and half steps technique. What I want you to do before you go any further, I want you to build each major chord and go through all 12 keys. After you've done that, you will then know 12 different major chords. How do we build a minor chord from a major chord? We take a chord, like C major, we lower the third by a half step. That gives us the C minor chord. We do it to F major, we lower the third by a half step. That gives us a minor chord. Again, do the same as you did with the majors and go through all 12 keys with the minors. Once you've done that, you will then know 24 different chords. 12 major and 12 minor. How do we build a diminished chord? Well, we take the major chord and we lower the third and the fifth by a half step. That gives us C diminished chord. Let's try it with G. G major, lower the third and the fifth by a half step. That gives us a G diminished chord. Again, do exactly the same as you did with the major and the minor and go through all 12 diminished chords. That now adds up to 36 different chords. The final triad chord, the augmented, how do we do that? Well, we raise the fifth by a half step. That gives us a diminished chord. So let's take G major. Raise the fifth by a half step. That's now a G diminished. Again, do exactly the same, go through all 12 keys, so you then know 48 different chords. Major, minor, diminished, and augmented. Quickly recap, we have the major chord. To make it minor, we lower the third by a half step. To make it diminished, we lower the third and the fifth by a half step. To make it diminished, the third and the fifth by a half step. Augmented, raise the fifth by a half step. So, from major to minor, we lower the third by a half step. From major to diminished, we lower the third and the fifth by a half step. From major to augmented, we raise the fifth by a half step. There are your 4 basic triad chords. Now let's talk about the numeric value of a scale. We start with C, we go to the other C, all the way down to that G major scale. We also know our G major scale. know our F major scale. Let's look at the numeric values of C major. Start with C. C, being the note we've just built the scale on, can be known as the root or the first note of the scale. So, C is the bottom note, it's the note we built the scale on, it can be known as the root because it's the bottom note, it's what we've built on. Or it can be known as the first note. The second note on the scale would be known as the second note, the third note, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and then we can now call this the eighth, because it's the eighth note on the scale, or we can call it the first note, because we're back at the beginning, necessarily. So, because if we were going to carry that on to another scale, it would also be known as the first note. Okay, so we know the numeric values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 or 1. I could shout out play the fourth note of C. If we're playing in C major, and I say play the fourth note and then the fifth note, I'll be talking about playing the F note and then the G note. Because the F is the fourth note of C and G is the fifth note of C. So the fifth note of C major is G. Now, we also know that each note in a scale, we can build a chord on each note in each scale, because each note is the root of the chord for the scale. How do we build a chord for each note of the scale? This is how it goes. The first note is a major. So the first note of C major is a C. So we will build a C major chord. The second note is a minor. So the second chord of a scale, of a major scale, is a minor. So the second note in C major is D. So if it's going to be a minor, it'll be a D minor. The third chord, the free chord of a major scale, is also a minor. So the third note is E. So that will be a minor. The fourth chord of a major scale is always a major. So the fourth note of C major is F. So it'll be a major, F major. The fifth chord of a major scale is also a major. So the fifth note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is a G. So the fifth chord will be a G major. The sixth note, we build a chord on the sixth note, which is A. It's always minor, so it'll be A minor. The seventh chord on the major scale is a diminished. So the seventh note is a B, so that'll be diminished. B diminished. And now we're back to the first one. So, the sequence is major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and then back to major. So that'll be known as the one chord, because it's the first note is C, C major scale, the C is the first note. So, the one chord, the two chord, the three chord, the four chord, the five chord, the sixth chord, the seventh chord, and then back to the beginning. So, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and then back to major. So, to build any chord on a note in each scale, the sequence is the one chord is major, the two chord is minor, the three chord is minor, the four chord is major, the five chord is major, the sixth chord is minor, the seventh chord is diminished, and then the eighth chord is major. So major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and then back to the beginning.